Complex. We're pleased to welcome now Brian Hughes. He is the Deputy National Security Advisor for Strategic Communications. Brian, thanks for coming on.
Gerard, thanks for having me.
So, with respect to the security of this nation, I'm not sure I felt totally secure during the last administration. This president has a totally different approach and strategy and just mindset with respect to that.
That's a fact. I say it all the time. When you contemplate how to make the world a more peaceful and secure place, there's no greater force to make that happen than a strong and secure America. We have a history of demonstrating to the world what peace through strength means. For 4 years, the Biden administration abandoned that principle, and we saw the world essentially ablaze in so many different ways, and we saw our homeland completely under siege. In just 3 months, a little over 3 months now, we've secured our border. Practically zero flow. There's still, incursions, very, very small numbers. But when you think of the numbers that were coming in across our borders illegally, it's just a dramatic change in just a short period of time. And you should remember that President Biden said he needed Congress to do it. He needed all these things. It took a stroke of a pen of Donald Trump and in a few months, and here we are. And now that we have the border secure, we're also aggressively inside the homeland going after criminal terrorist organizations, these transnational gangs, getting people out. The worst of the worst are being sent home or sent to facilities in other countries. And at the same time, the president's leading on the international stage to bring more peace and stability, support our friends, and let our foes know it's a different time.
You make a good point. I think typically when Americans think about national security, usually the first thing that comes to mind is securing from our foreign adversaries. But really we have a significant potential threat inside our country, especially with the borders being so wide open the last few years.
We had millions and millions of people in 4 years' time come across our border, and the vast majority of them with little to no vetting or even understanding of who they are or what motivates them to be in our country. And it wasn't just, the southern border makes you often think it's Central or South America. It was a porous border that some of the worst operators around the entire globe were using that border to come in. If you look at the countries of origin from the Biden era, we had, African nations, Asian nations. We had people just coming in from all over the world. And as the president speaks to all the time, there were even nations that essentially emptied their mental institutions and their prisons into our porous border. And that threat has been eliminated at the border, and now we're getting the worst of the worst that got through. As we find them and as we understand what motivated them to be here, we're getting the bad people out.
And this is exactly what the president told us throughout the campaign and upon being elected. And he put people in place really just to enforce existing law. Tom Homan, of course, does not play around with that sort of stuff whatsoever. So we're making progress there, but it feels like, Brian, that the courts are kind of mucking up the works a little bit here.
Yeah, there's certainly a disappointment in, we're seeing at the lower levels of the federal judiciary what sort of years of liberal neglect of vetting our judicial system can lead to. We've got some activists in black robes that pretend to be the impartial voice of justice, when in fact they are liberal political operators who are undermining what the president is trying to do. And as you noted, policies that he did not hide from the American electorate. He told at every day of the campaign, when I'm elected, here's exactly what I'm going to do. He does that every day. He made promises. He's keeping them. And, the judicial system, it has to be respected. The president agrees that, we'll work through the courts. But it is a disappointment when you see legal processes undertaken by the president and his administration get sidelined by activist judges.
Yeah, it's certainly standing in the way of what I think the vast majority of Americans support. And what's even more disturbing is we have some folks in the other party, in the Democrat Party, that seem to be tilting more of their deference to illegals in this country than they do American citizens.
Yeah, I mean, the most insane examples are happening right now where, the senator from Maryland would rather fly to El Salvador to have margaritas with a known gang member criminal than sit with the grieving mother of the victim of a transnational gang member criminal. It's really it boggles the mind. It defies any sense of wisdom, but it happens every day. And it's, from a political hat, if the Democrats want to continue down that path, I guess we should let them. But it's just sad as policymakers that such common sense policies like President Trump is enacting are still being fought against.
So, of course, the president is very serious about his trade imbalance and strategy and tariff strategy as well. There's a national security component to that as well, is there not, Brian?
There absolutely is. I mean, it's first and foremost, like I said, a strong America leads to a safer world. So our economic prosperity here at home is a part of that. But more important, we've allowed, and we speak to it all the time, we've allowed very important components of our economy to be outsourced. So we have important elements that are part of national security equipment, military equipment. We have pharmaceuticals. We have things that are extremely important to the day-to-day lives of Americans that we simply do not produce in the United States anymore, and the places that produce them are not our friends. So when we have such an imbalance in trade and such over these many decades now, such destruction of the American manufacturing and the American worker base, we're going to reverse it, but it is daunting sometimes to think about how far the sort of globalist old model let us get as a country, and it's so important that President Trump, again, a policy that President Trump made extremely clear to the people who elected him. I'm going to do these things, and now that he's doing, some people seem surprised, but it's good for the American worker. It's good to get it'll lead us back to a place where American manufacturing and innovation are the world leader rather than simply making us the consumer of nations that don't like us.
And this issue was really laid bare during the COVID pandemic. When we learned, I don't think most Americans knew, the vast majority of our antibiotics, for example, are produced in China.
That's right.
At a time when we needed those medicines the most.
It's pharmaceuticals. It's even basic supplies. If you remember the chaos when people erroneously told us we had to wear masks, getting they call it PPE, and but even more concerning than that is just the rare earth minerals are the base of the new technological world. So all of the things that go into our phones and our computers and the things that missile guidance systems and everything down from your from your son's cell phone all the way to the missiles that keep us safe. There are elements of these things that are simply not produced in the United States and almost exclusively produced or originate in China. And China, as they're demonstrating every day, is no friend to the American people.
So I think the point, the takeaway for me, Brian, is that national security involves a lot more than just military strength. There's many more elements to it. And something that's really changing dramatically, as you well know, is just the digital landscape and how that figures into our national security as well. What kind of efforts do we have going on there to address that?
Listen, there is an entirely new battlefield that has emerged thanks to technology, which are, there is so much of our lives on networks and in the computers in the digital world that cyber security is extremely important. And we see every day, particularly Iran and China, have extremely aggressive cyber attack capabilities, Russia as well. And we have to defend from them every day, and we have to, just to keep the security around the day-to-day life that we have in a modern era, is part of our national security.
Yeah. The president, your organization is responsible for briefing him virtually on a daily basis, right?
That's right. We, the National Security Council, is the home of the people that condense information from all over the world and from here at home, and produce the daily briefing, and also my boss, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, is part of the national security team that offer the best information and guidance that the president seeks. Make no bones about it, the decision maker is Donald J. Trump.
Sure.
But he's surrounded himself with good people. The American people should know, not just in the national security space, but if you look at his entire cabinet, he has created a team that is unlike ever before, and it's really an amazing group of people helping run the country. Secretary
Waltz was a great selection for that role, was he not?
I think so. I think Mike is a good man doing good work. You look at Pete Hegseth. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard in the intelligence space. It is a very diverse group of people, except where it counts, which is they're singular in their commitment to seeing the president's vision enacted.
He selected based on qualifications. There's no doubt about that.
Yes, sir.
Brian, really appreciate you coming on with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.